Hi guys, it's Megan. So some people don't know, but in January I actually got laid off and I was graduating in May, so I'm now graduated. But trying to find a job, if you're trying to find a job right now and it's really hard, you're not the only one. I have literally been struggling for so long trying to find a job. Like, I feel like not having a job, it definitely feels like a blessing where it's like you finally have time off, all this stuff, but I was just very surprised by how much I felt like depressed. Like, I felt like my days meant nothing and stuff like that. But like, job or not, like, my life still has a purpose and I still have meaning in my life. And so time was going by, right, for weeks and weeks and weeks. And of course I had schoolwork to keep me busy, but other than that, I didn't really have much going on. Just knowing that he had a plan for me, even though I couldn't see it at the moment. And so time went on and I was applying for like hundreds of jobs. I feel like hundreds and hundreds of jobs over the course of literally months. And then, of course, there was a freeze in America of government jobs, so that didn't help because there was a specific company I really wanted, and they could not hire, unfortunately. So they're still in a freeze currently, so that made things hard as well. It is graduating time, and I do not have a job lined up. And again, like, I'm still applying for jobs, I'm calling people back. I get like a few interviews and stuff like that, but there's this thing called the FE exam. And there's also a PE exam for civil engineers. And I did not have my FE exam, even though I had 3 internships. I think having the FE will always rule over having experience. I'm not sure. But I think if, someone has the FE and doesn't have experience, they might choose that over me who has experience but doesn't have the FE. So I'm still currently like studying for that and going to be working towards that. I feel like that is something that like has held me back in trying to find a job. And I started applying to places, and I got a few interviews and they said like, oh, we'll talk to you by the end of the week, we'll let you know. And I didn't really hear anything. I kind of felt like in the interview maybe they didn't want me, I don't know. And I started like thinking like I'm literally gonna be out of school, jobless. I'm gonna feel like like I don't know. It's like the point of going to school is like, oh, you'll be set up, you'll be successful for life if you go to school, blah blah. And like, oh, I was getting stressed out. I was literally, bills are coming. I didn't know what I was gonna do and stuff like that. And I remember, like, I'm very religious, but for some reason during this time, I had a struggle. I don't know how to say, like, praying. Like, I would think in my head, like, oh, God's got me and stuff like that. But I hadn't really, like, just sat down. Like, there would be days, like, I wouldn't even get out of bed. I was just, like, so, disordered, I guess. I didn't know. Like, I was just, like, going day to day without, like, any kind of emotion and stuff like that. And then one day I decided, I have to not let this ruin my life. I have to keep going. I have to, like, continue to live even though I don't have, a job. Like, my life still has meaning and my life still has purpose. And so what I did was I woke up, did journaling. I sat outside, did not touch my phone for 20 minutes. So I just sat outside with my cup of coffee, just looked at the birds, looked at the squirrels, stuff like that, and didn't touch my phone for 20 minutes. And then I would pray and I would also meditate. And it was crazy because I prayed in the morning. And that day, my dad reached out to me. This guy from work said there's a career fair. It's like down south from where I live, but he said there's a virtual option. And so I looked at the options and stuff. And there was only 2 companies in the city that I actually lived in. And out of those 2 companies, there was only one like entry-level engineering position. So I applied for it, not thinking much. Again, another application, And then that same day, that night, like literally like 3 or 4 o'clock, I got an email saying, hey, can you do like a interview like now? Like literally like in an hour. And I was, so like the same day, call interview, and I was like, yes, of course. Like once I got that, I almost felt like it was God. I was like, this is God. And then the following day I got an in-person interview, and then like 4 days later I got an offer letter. So I graduated Sunday. I got my offer letter on Tuesday and got approved for my apartment, which I'm currently in, on Wednesday. So and this was literally like last Wednesday. So within a week, your whole life can change. And I have no one but God to thank for this. And I actually sent out a really long and thoughtful email or like text message to my dad's coworker who sent out the career fair to him to even think about me. I might be able to post it somewhere. I would probably cry if I started reading it. I just had to like express my feelings towards the situation. Like, I knew God does things in such a way, like, you never know how he's gonna bless you and who he's gonna use as resources to bless you. I'm supposed to start on Monday and today is Wednesday. But today I actually ended up getting an offer letter for 5,000 more a year from another company, which is actually closer to my house. So now I'm like in this predicament where it's like, oh my gosh, too many blessings. What am I gonna do? But yeah, I'm just so grateful, and I believe if you just trust in God, I know there's been so many situations in our lives, in my life, where I'm just like, God, I just give this to you. I cannot hold this weight in my chest and my heart, this anxiety. Like, I just give it to you. I like envision it being given to him, and he's just taking it from me, and it's so light for him, and he just is able to resolve all my problems if I just trust in him. Because when I try to do it, it's just a mess and everything. And yeah, I just wanted to share that amazing story, that even though it looks like the end and it's getting close, there's still time for faith and trusting in God. And yeah, that's all I have. So thanks so much for watching.